Hi everyone, Soul Silver 17 here. Let me show it's like usual. Not the picture, made the thumbnail, not paid video. Alright, okay. So, here's the thing. This one is kind of was a little bit of a difficulty for me, to be honest. I didn't know how I was going to put myself into High School DxD and where I was going to go from there because I'm going to try not to replace Issei or try to steal his thunder. But exactly at the same time, I wanted to be like, just like, found that supernatural for some weird reason, somehow, and then kind of basically meet Rias and the Parage, and, well, you know. So, in a sense, I'm basically should just explain something real quick. So basically, how I'm reincarnated is kind of gonna be funny, but exactly at the same time. Though, when I'm reincarnated in High School DxD, I'm not basically gonna know my parents. I'm gonna be adopted, and I'm gonna go not by soul, but by, a name, basically, that I'm just gonna say. So anyways, the thing is, though, I'm basically just a normal kid that didn't have these weird powers, but I can't use them. I want to make myself basically have more of the world, like, High School DxD's powers, but I have these powers that I'm gonna unlock slowly. But, to be honest, I'm only gonna have a select few powers from basically of everything I know that could help me. So, I could get, like, Gilgamesh's, basically Gates of Babylon eventually, but probably most likely not. But, anyways, though, we're gonna continue on. Also, though, D-Drake, or D-Dragon, or Drake, basically. Because I know about High School DxD, am I going to get that? Yes and no. Alternate version of him. You'll see, but I may get it depending if I basically think it'll fit into the story. But if it is, though, I'm gonna make it an alternate version of him. But anyways, let's get into the video. This is part 1 of What If I Was Izuka? What if I was in High School DxD? So, as we start off, I'm coming out of GameStop, basically, like, finally, a PS5! Can't wait till I get home and play this. As I'm walking to my, car. But what happens is, all of a sudden, though, I'm looking down at it with a big smile on my face, like, yes, I could probably play the remastered version of Demon's Souls. By the way, I don't own it, or any of the PS5, or anything. I just, just making it, putting the names in because it's part of the story. But anyways, yeah. So, as I look up, I'm in a dark void. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm looking around, basically floating, and then I see, basically, when I look around again, though, for a few more minutes, I see someone, basically, like I'm being pulled towards them. Basically, when I would see, though, I see someone with a few walls, basically a TV, basically, a table and such, chairs, and he's like, and they're like, wait, no, you weren't supposed to be here? I'm like, oh great, a god, or goddess, whatever you are, summoned me, didn't you? He's like, yes, but I wasn't trying to summon you. Oh no, my apologies. Like, why? He's, well, if I summoned you here, that means you're dead. I'm like, huh? Wait, so you killed me? He's like, yes? By accident? I'm like, you, I just got my PS5, and you killed me. He's like, I'm deeply sorry. What can I do? I'm just like, I don't know, maybe reincarnation or isekai into another world? I just got my PS5, I just want to play some games. Which this god is looking at me, basically like, well, I could send you to a world I basically was watching over until I kind of faked my death. Which that sounds so familiar. I'm like, wait, you're actually the god from another world? He's like, yes. But I just got tired of the wars. I kind of wanted just to get away from it, and, well, like, yeah. But, still, Just, you accidentally killed me. He's like, yep, so I'll reincarnate you into that world. Though your life is gonna be normal, I mean, you're not gonna be basically some type of superhuman or like a hero. It's like, honestly, I kind of wanted to be that way when I was a kid, but I got over it. He's like, good. So, but the one thing is, as more of an apology to what I'm about to do to you, I'm like, wait, what do you mean? He's like, I'm gonna give you powers. He's like, but you just said, yes, but these powers are randomly. He's like, huh? Well, they can be randomly chosen basically on what type of danger you're in. Say if you're being mugged, you'll get basically one of the powers that would suit it. You know, super reflex is if you know anyone who has that, or even basically, you know, those exact powers. Your body will physically change into handle those powers and such, to the point where you can actually use them to the full capabilities. But some powers that will need to be trained to be used will, well, you basically when you get them after some times of using them, you might get them depending if you're ready for it. He's like, okay, so I'll be able to keep some powers. Yes, but it's not very much. I'm limiting it. But let me just see what you know. As basically all of a sudden a screen pops up for him and it shows him everything I know about basically powers. And he goes like, oh, 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 this is a lot. Oh, what? How did you even have this? Know about this? Okay, this is complete BS on that one. I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, so I can't. You're basically some powers will change you into what you could physically be able to use them. Ki is universal, but because you know the powers of Ki come from basically this world called. By the way, I don't own the name of it or anything, or characters, but Dragon Ball. It's you may become basically a Saiyan or basically just a normal human, depending since you basically know a lot more. Obviously, Saiyan transformations too, so I'll just allow you to turn to a Saiyan. I'm like, seriously? Yes. I mean, it's the least I can do. It's like, cool. Wait. No. In my world, in my world, basically, this is just an anime for you? Like, wait, in your world? Yes, basically, in my world, where I basically come from, it's just an anime for you guys, and where you're from. It's like, yes? He just sighs. He's like, I should have figured as much, but it's real, not an anime. But because of you, some things may change, so have fun. I'm like, cool. Which one I'm going to? It says the god just grins. He's like, well, first off, I just snaps his fingers at the PS5 comes towards him and he just takes it. Like, this is why I want from the very beginning. I'm like, you wanted my PS5. He's like, yes. I'm like, why? He's like, meh, I thought it was interesting. And besides, the graphics on the games look pretty cool. So you're a god, you can make it or something. He's like, yeah, I was lazy. It's like, you, give me back my PS5. It's like, nah, have fun in High School DxD. Me like, wait, what? Snap. I'm basically reincarnated. Basically now the god's like, time to play some basically PS5 and some Demon Souls. Seriously, he knows about that. Well, it is a universal hard game. Well, most of the Dark Souls series don't none of that or Demon Souls or anything else. Okay, anyway, so yeah, basically, we're having a time skip because honest and truth, let's just say I was reincarnated. My name was Riku. I only had that name, no last name since I was an orphanage. Was adopted by two parents and had a normal childhood. Nothing interesting happened. Though there was probably one time where there was a car crash where basically all of a sudden though, basically instead of the fire basically, hurting us, there was no one really saw it, but technically I was able to eat fire. I'm like, what? As a base, I was only probably like 10 years old. Like, I can eat fire. I don't know. This is not normal. I'm not telling no one. So yeah. So anyways. That's all that happened. That was the only interesting part. So, yeah. Basically, 17 17 years old, in the same class as Issei, basically. I'm just waking up and I'm like, okay, I hate mornings, but I gotta go to school. Ugh. Alright, up, get up, come on. Yep, here we go. So yeah, basically, I'm just going, go do my whatever I need to do in the morning, and then I get changed and I come down. I'm like, hi mom, hi dad. Basically, my adopted mother has brown hair and basically brown eyes. Basically, a lot of the guys in my school would say to me, how did I get such a good looking mom? Because, well, basically she has a beauty like no other, person that they see besides, they say the Queens of Kuo. Which I'm just like, guys, I don't care. That's my mom. So yeah, basically, as my father basically will have basically black hair and basically blue eyes, or, well, silver, depending. It seems like sometimes to me. Basically, very muscular, tall, and, well, has a kind smile. And basically, to me, basically a very good father because he's willing to help me out on anything like my mother. So, basically, though, a lot of girls ask me how can I even have basically a father as good looking as that. I'm like, even the girls too. Basically, when I was in my first year, both of that happened. So yeah, so in a sense, though, basically my parents say good morning, as my mother gives me basically some eggs and bacon and rice. I'm like, well, basically today's the first day of Kuo, right? She basically goes, uh-huh. Just be careful, don't get in no fights, and try to not basically get annoyed with most people. It's like, that's gonna be a problem, Mom. I really don't like them that much there. But hey, got my stuff done, and basically it's one of those prestige schools you want me to go to. That's around. My father's like, yes. To be fair, basically, you learn, well, you're getting straight A's and stuff, which I'm proud of you for that. But, do you know anything about your future? He's like, which I'm like, well, to be honest, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know what I want to do in life, but, I'm pretty good at, for some reason, drawing sometimes. You told me to keep on practicing my drawing, but I'm very good at playing video games. Maybe I could probably do some type of, something to do with video games or something. Which, basically, my mother just kind of giggles and was like, well, basically, drawing would lead to a career probably like manga, but that does take some time, and basically all depends on, he goes, yeah, I know, it depends on the profits. But hey, I'll find something out I want to do with the rest of my life. Maybe I'll just start putting money into some stocks or something. Just basically shrugging, which basically my father would just nod. Like, but if you ever need any help, we don't mind helping you basically find a job. I can use some of my connections with some friends. He's like, which I just chuckle like, I know, Dad. Thanks. As I have a soft smile on my face, which he would nod. So, after I eat breakfast, I will get to school. Basically, though, I've been trying to figure out what I wanted to do since middle school in this one. It's like, what am we gonna do? Meh. It's not like basically I'm gonna get basically, figure out just right away. As I'm walking to school, as I get to school, I'm like, oh, great, cool. Good teachers, but annoying students. So basically I will walk, away basically and kind of basically just see basically Issei and his two friends basically running away from basically the Kendo Club, which I'm just like, yep, everything's normal at Kuo. Annoying though. So yeah. So basically, I would get to class and just basically sit in my seat and basically just read a book. So after basically, everyone gets there, some people basically are my friends. So basically they'll come up to me and say, hey man, what's up? How was basically your time off from school? I'm like, meh, didn't really do much. Read some books, went on a little bit of, family vacation, came back. and basically enjoyed the rest of my basically time away from school. What about you guys? Like, meh, we didn't do nothing either. We just played some games and hanged out with each other. That's cool. Got any girlfriends lately? Like, well, actually, yeah. I actually do have a girlfriend, which one of my friends will say, which I'm like, seriously? Wow, man. I never thought you would. See, hey! Which basically have a chuckle. So I'm like, but still, glad you got one. Hopefully, basically, she treats you right, like, unlike the last one. But treats you right, unlike the last one. He was, yeah, thanks for helping me with that, though. Sheesh. Can't believe, though, she would basically say all that shit behind my back. I'm like, yep. But anyways, we should get ready to get, for class. It's about to start soon. Which my friends will nod and sit down. So class will go like normal and such, and nothing really, I mean, the only thing though is that's different today is, well, while I'm in school, basically someone's watching basically my class from a distance. Basically she's on top of basically a water tower, which she's like, interesting. He has basically a power within him, but it seems to be dormant. But he is basically the one I sensed 17 years ago. A shift in the world. I must figure out what he has. So, in a sense, though, she will disappear. Now, basically, Issei will get asked out by, Yuma, aka Renair, but the thing is, we would go to that scene where she's walking away from Issei, as basically, before she turned into her basically true form, aka Renair, fallen angel, someone would appear. Basically, Renair will basically hear a voice be like, you, Fallen. And she will turn around and she sees this girl with long black hair, basically having basically some type of little frail white thing on their head, basically dressing up in basically basic pajamas, looks like of old, and basically just one weird freaking top. Basically, she was like, wait, who are you? He was like, well, I want to get this over and done with as soon as possible. My name is Orphis, the Infinity Dragon. Yeah, I don't know basically anything basically what Orphis freaking, what clothing that is, but hey, I just freaking just said it's just what I think it is. But I'm not trying to say anything, but to be fair though, you can even admit that's kind of weird for Orphis to wear. So, basically, Rhaenyra's just blinking, she's, no way. How did you know if I was this Orphis basically saying, you should understand basically how I could. Now, I have a task for you. Which, she goes, huh? You see, there's a human in this basically town. Not the one you were with, but someone that's in his class. You'll know him by name of Riku Hagane. Yes, that's basically my adopted parents' last name, which I just couldn't think of it, so yeah. Which basically, Renee would just blink. She was like, why him? She goes, there's something within him that I want to figure out, so I want you to basically fight him and see. I'll basically have some suitable things that will happen to basically prove to you about his, something to him. So that way you wouldn't mind basically following my rules. Well, or following my order. Which Rhaenyra will slowly nod, because she doesn't want to die to basically the Infinity Dragon Raoul. Yeah, so what happens is very simple. Basically, Rhaenyra will say, okay, just good. Now, off with you, enjoy the rest of your day. She basically then will disappear. Now then, what happens is so simple for the next couple of days, because honestly, I don't think, because basically since I'm in a normal life right now, I don't think nothing's gonna really happen to me besides these little points in time. For some reason, I basically, when my mom asked me to go to the stores and grab something basically to eat, basically when we ran out of something at night, I'm like, alright. So I would just walk and some guys would come out of nowhere basically saying, give me all your money. Which, with me, alright. Just, let's not do anything hasty, guys. I'm like, this kid. So, before I even grab my wallet, I get this weird, basically, sensation I haven't felt since I was 10. Which I'm like, Basically, all of a sudden, the images of basically what I can do. Now, what this is basically, since it's only a mugging, I think basically one thing will basically come in very good handy. Well, imagine it basically. I mean, I thought basically the Flash would do, but to be fair, Shadow Clone do too. Yes, I also get chakra and the knowledge of how to use Naruto's techniques, and basically along with other basically chakra techniques basically that I would know. Which I'm just like smirking, as then all of a sudden they just see me put my hands into a cross shape. I'm like multi Shadow Clone Jutsu. As it basically all of a sudden multiple poofs of smoke appear, which for some weird reason I'm like, this reminds me of basically Naruto versus Mitsuki. Wait, why do I even know that name? It's something in my head because yes, I do get some memories basically of my past life when this happens sometimes, which the guys are like, "What the?" And so I'm like, "All right, boys, finish them off." Which they're like, "Right, boss," and they basically just hear screaming. Everyone can hear screaming in the distance. Me, the shadow clones poof, and hold up. Okay, as I said, the shadow clones poof, and I get the memory. And okay, the phone rings. Okay, as I was saying, as this one the shadow clones poof, basically I would get the memories of all angles, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Good thing I only summoned out like a good 25 of them. So basically, yeah. So I start walking away, basically, leaving the guys on the ground, bloodied and bruised. And well, basically I get my stuff and go away. Go away from the store and get back home. Next thing you know is basically walking by, car will try to hit me. Basically, I dodged it basically by jumping. Well, by jumping over it and basically will land on the car hood like Spider-Man. Which I'm like, okay, that comes in handy. Jumping off it, making like no one could record it. But everyone's like, what the? So yeah, so basically I get out of there pretty quickly. Now, after those weird things, those days has passed, it's the day where Issei is basically getting to get basically killed by Renair. Oh yeah, by the way, if you guys are wondering why I don't basically know very much of basically High School DxD, or basically of anything, to be fair, I was reincarnated. I'm not gonna basically remember my past memories, and that's the reason why I'm saying I get basically a glimpse of my past memories. So yes, I don't remember none of my past. I didn't remember how the god stole my PS5 from me. Yep. I'm basically probably gonna go after that god, be like, "Where's my PS5? Give me it." But yeah, I'm trying so not to laugh at that scene I can think of. But yeah, so anyways, so as basically, when the day comes around, my mom basically like, honey, we're going to be going out. We'll basically be back late, so if you want, you can basically go for your nightly walks that you like to do sometimes over the weekend. I'm like, sweet. Just don't get into any sort of trouble. It's like, why do I get in trouble when I go on my nightly walks? Which makes my father like, should we name that one time you basically took a nightly walk when you were basically 13? Like, okay, maybe I got lost in the woods. But still, it was a good walk. Basically, you were gone until 2 in the morning. It's like, okay, it was a weekend. So, basically, all of a sudden, we just all have a chuckle. So yeah, so in a sense, they will leave, and me, basically, we kind of just sigh, because they were probably left around, 4, which I'm like, well, I want to go to that new cafe that's basically, beyond that park, so I have to take the park as a shortcut. So what will happen is very simple. I will get my stuff, and I'll go to the park where Issei would technically die. Well, technically, because, Rita's supposed to revive him. And the fact is, though, listen, when I get to that park, I won't get to the park and basically, stumble upon Issei, no. I'll get to the park and basically, I'll hear someone like, well, if it isn't basically a human that basically she wants me to test. Which I'm like, wait, whose voice is that? as I'm looking around, and basically she goes, up here. I look up and I see someone flying. It's in the way of their dresses. I'm like, huh, wow. Uh, so you got wires or something on you? She was like, no. But of course you want to know about it. As then basically all of a sudden a white spear appears in her hand, and in that in that nanosecond, basically multiple basically different powers come into my mind. Two particularly. Basically, Spider-Man and Wolverine, which my body would basically make me have both of those powers at once. Basically, I feel a little bit heavier, but also somehow lighter. As basically, when she throws the light spear at me, I basically jump backwards by doing a flip, all of a sudden shoot webs out of my hand, and start, when I land, swing the light spear basically around, and then basically jump up and down, throw it swing it back towards her, which she dodges, and she's in her head, what the? So, she basically that ain't normal for a human. I guess Orpheus was right, she would, say in her head. She would just land and be like, interesting, let's see how you are at close range. She basically would dash towards me, have her light spear basically in her hand, me, then all of a sudden bring out the Wolverine claws, and not even say nothing, just basically dash towards her, which she would kind of be shocked, but she would think basically her light spear would do something. Yeah, no, she would try to stab. I will basically use the claws to block it. I move it up and try to slash her. She would use her light spear basically angle to basically use to block it. And let's just say this, with the immense strength for Spider-Man and basically Wolverines combined together, that would basically kind of send her flying, which the light spear would hit her a bit, would kind of burn her, but not really much. Which she will basically use her wings to get her basically off the ground easily, before she even hit the ground, she'll basically land on our feet. And I'm like, who are you, and why are you trying to kill me? She basically goes like, you're one weird human. Well, interesting. Which I'm like, you're not? She goes, no, I'm a fallen. I'm like, a fallen what? A fallen angel? Which I'm like, wait, so that means... no way. She goes, you didn't think that basically any of us was real, but no one does. So, tell me, what's your name? He goes, Enrico Hagane, but it doesn't really matter if you're gonna be dead soon. She was like, oh? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Basically, though, she'll have like 2 light spears, and because she's technically supernatural, she would have a lot more basically speed and strength. She was just playing me at first, which basically I'm able to dodge due to the Spider Sense, but I can't swing fast enough basically because she'll be blocking it with her basically, 2 spears, which basically I'm like, crap! If I'm not careful, I'm going to die. Which basically, yes, I know I do have the regeneration, but to be fair, because I don't know if I would die to basically whatever the spear is, because it's not normal. So basically, all of a sudden, another power basically be given to me. Final Fantasy 15 Noctis. All basically his weapons are known now, and his skill. Basically, me then all of a sudden before she can stab me, basically and strain the brain, I would then basically all of a sudden have basically a sword appear in my hand, throw it backwards, and basically as soon as it hits the ground, I'm already right next to it. I say, grabbing the sword, where she's like, huh, a new power? Or do you already have that? I'm like, okay, way too close, Riku. Alright, let's make this a little bit fair. So I just throw basically the sword, she'll basically dodge it, me smirking basically appear right next to it, but then all of a sudden switch out to basically the katana. Basically she's like, she would basically have heard the warp, and basically she would turn around, but then she sees the katana swing it as she tried to use both spears to block, by crossing them, but I just basically break right through. Basically, then I just start to, swing the sword down, but basically, I do have basically bring out basically the pistol there, he would have. As then basically I just, then have her, head at her basically stomach, and basically have the sword at her throat, me basically having basically a light spear near my heart, and she goes, not bad, kid. Not bad at all. I'm like, why were you here to kill me? She goes, well, I did my job. You're pretty good for basically just whatever his powers are. Strange that you have multiple of them. But they seem to be combined well with you. Now, basically, it's kind of a shame basically you're getting older. I'm like, huh? What do you mean by? I'm like, wait, are you trying to? And then she basically all of a sudden used basically some of her strength to push me away, which I can technically send flying a bit, but it would land at my feet, and basically she just flies away. But I hear her laughing, which I'm like, did I seriously just got well basically flirted with by a fallen angel, but it was a lie? I both basically weapons disappear. I'm like, man, that really was weird. Basically, the claws are already gone. Basically, I feel like the powers are leaving, but then all of a sudden, I start to basically get a lot more powers, basically activating all at once, which it's like a whole slew of basically of different things. One of them is Rimuru Tempest, abilities. The other one will be Gilgamesh's, and basically, well, and a lot of basically, other basically probably will be like mages' powers, you could say, but basically, I would also get like Shinra's, basically, Artorias's, and basically then I would probably get like some, probably magics from basically like the Shield from Nafumi. Well, the Shield Hero anime, basically Nafumi's, basically magics, basically what he knows. Anything basically that I can because of one thing. I then hear basically like, so you impressed me, human. Which I just turn around and I see basically this. Well, it looks like a freaking kid to me. Basically with bare feet, basically just looking at me saying that with her emotionless eyes. Which I'm like, yeah. Basically I'm like thinking in my head, why is my senses going off like crazy? It's saying she's dangerous. Which, basically, Grace, I hear then someone saying this in my head. Note, basically, a dragon is in front of you. Which I'm like, what the? What? Who are you? And why are you talking in my head? I would say in my head, say it to myself, in my mind. She goes, no, does not matter. Must calculate how to survive. I'm like, what the? Basically, she goes, something wrong. I'm like, sorry, it's just, I'm trying to figure out when did you even get here, kid, and are you alright? Which she would not, well, she would just chuckle. She was like, a kid? Which I'm like, yeah. I mean, no offense. Whoever basically lets you dress up like that has a weird way of basically, for their kid to be dressing up. Like, seriously, do I have to call someone to help you? Like, are you okay? Which she just blinking. She was like, I'm fine. I have no parents. I'm like, oh, wait, who's your guardian? Do you even know their number, where they live? Basically, she's like, no, I have no one. I had never had anyone to begin with. Which I'm like, wow, that's just sad. Which Orpheus would kind of just be like, what do you mean by that? I mean, like, well, it's kind of really depressing if you really think about it. You're all by yourself. I mean, do you have any friends? She goes, no, I don't like people. Or anyone, to be frank. Which I'm like, really? Well, that sucks. I mean, I don't really mind being your friend then. Since basically you seem really lonely. She goes, I'm not. That's besides the point. I'm here basically to talk to you, human. I'm like, human? We're both human. She goes, no, I am Orpheus, the Infinity Dragon. Basically me just blinking and I just start laughing. I'm like, you're kidding, right? Orpheus, the Infinity Dragon? The dragons don't exist. As Orpheus just staring at me with that blank emotionless face. Anyways, I'm just my laughter dies. I'm like, you're kidding, right? She goes, no. Right away with that same emotionless tone. I'm like, wow. Wow. I thought dragon would be more bigger, scalier, and basically more reptilian-like. Not a human, basically, looking girl that basically is just small. Just, basically, I think a tick mark basically would go on her because she has never met anyone that ever basically insults her like this. Or even basically even had the gall to. But she just basically compose herself, but she's thinking, why am I getting so frustrated with him all of a sudden? It's not basically like it even matters. But still, what is this emotion I'm feeling? Wait, emotion? How am I even feeling it? I'll figure it out later. So yeah, so basically what happens next is basically I'm like, but anyways. So, what you want with little old me, basically Orpheus the Infinity Dragon. Which she's like, do you not fear basically my name? I'm like, nope, don't even care. She's like, huh? I'm like, what? How do you not care? I'm a dragon god. I'm like, so? Just tilt my head to the side. And she's like, to be fair, I probably would not even care even in this new life. And basically my old one in this what if. So she's just like blinking like no one has ever said that. Which, for some reason, something was sparking her, but not that much. She was like, anyways, I basically don't know what a friend is because I never had one, and it does not matter. I'm here to get answers and questions. Well, get answers from you by asking questions. And hold up, everyone. My parents have returned. Okay, so basically, I'm looking at her. I'm like, answers? And you have questions for me? Why? She goes, well, no human has these abilities that you have, and I'm wondering why. And I want you to tell me. Which I'm like, thinking to myself, if would I be even able to? I mean, even I don't understand the reason why. I just can do it. Basically, all of a sudden, basically, I hear basically Great Sage, which I don't know yet, which will like, calculations have been complete. Give her honey. Which I'm like, honey? It's not like I basically have honey out of nowhere. I don't even have it on me. She goes, you can summon it. Summon it? How? Like, basically, it can be in my freaking palm of my hand or something? She basically says, yes. After all, you know who I am. He goes like, yeah, whatever, Great Sage. Slime. I'm a slime now at the moment. She goes, yes, you are. And you have basically honey in your inventory. I'm like, which I'm like, before Orpheus can say any more, all of a sudden I'm like, hey, Orpheus. Before I answer any questions, I want to give you basically a token of some friendship. She's like, huh? And then all of a sudden, honey will appear in my hand. The actual honey. Basically you put in basically your tea or bees basically make, yeah, honey. She basically is like, why? And what's this? She's like, it's honey. It's good. She's like, she basically was like, going over to it. And basically she was looking at my palm of my hand. And she was looking at me basically like, if I don't like it, I will basically throw you across the world. Which I'm like thinking about myself. Yeah, I don't doubt that at the moment. Basically, instead, basically just take it out of my hand, just opens up her mouth and just, goes like numb on my hand. Which I'm like thinking, oh no, my hand. Basically, though, all of a sudden, like she just, I basically pull up my hand from her mouth. Basically, I'm like, wait, why is there no saliva? Why there's nothing? Basically, though, I'm gonna look at her. Basically, like, wait, how do you even get your basically jaw to basically open up that much? And just how? Just how? Basically, though, she's like, after she tasted the honey and stuff, she's like, you're my friend now. I'm like, huh? Oh, and to answer your question, I technically have no true form. I can just make my form. Which I'm like, because I'm called the Infinity Dragon for a reason. Uh-huh. Yeah. So that means you're not a kid. Like, and she goes, no. That means you can take any form. She goes, yes. Why not like a teenager or adult or something? Is that being like a lolly? Like, seriously. She basically goes like, I like this form. I'm like, yeah. Most people would consider it basically be wrong to, well, for a kid to dress up like this. She was blinking. She was like, what is wrong? He was like, well, the fact is, normal kids don't dress up like that. And also, I mean, I really don't want to get in trouble with the law for hanging out and basically you look like a kid. I mean, they may think you're my sister or stepsister, but at exactly the same time, I don't really know how you're acting, so I just shrug. She'll just blink, and she's like, I see. Because I'm like, but why do you want to become friends with me all of a sudden? She goes, Well, you gave me something I basically haven't tasted before, or, well, even tried to, since I don't need to eat. Which I'm just blinking, I'm like, huh? You don't need to eat? Infinity Dragon, remember? Like, oh yeah. So I'm just a massive energy. You can say, which I'm like, so that means you have no true form, like you just said. Oh boy. Well, that kind of sucks. Basically, she goes on to say then, it goes, yes. And, well, I can see basically your dilemma, but I don't care for human things. But as my first friend, I'll basically listen to you and basically try to make your complaints basically less problems. Which I'm like, okay. First off, we gotta get you some clothes. Which she's like, no, I don't want clothes. I'll wear basically when I create them. At least they won't feel like regular clothing to me. Which I'm like, okay, fine. So basically though, but your age? Can you make it like you're 17 or something? She would nod her head. As when she changes, I realize, oh crap, I turn around. Basically immediately, but take out my phone, basically look it up, basically something nice. Like, basically clone what she could have wore or something. Which basically though, she would basically turn, she'll look at me after basically changed her form. And she's like, is something wrong? I'm like, yeah, just, basically, make yourself wear this, as I just show her basically a, picture of basically a purple shirt with jeans and basically, just some, like, white shoes or sneakers. She would basically just sigh and basically do that. But she was saying, I'm not wearing any sneakers or shoes, as you humans call it. I'm like, fair enough. Okay, at least that's better. She goes, but why do I need to wear this? She's basically just pointing at the shirt. I'm like, yeah, there's a reason why, but at the exact same time, I'm not gonna say it. Besides, you're in a 17-year-old body. I'm not gonna explain much. You can figure it out on your own, Orpheus. She goes, weird. Humans are weird. I'm like, yeah, dragons are weird. She was like, basically all of a sudden she gets a little tick mark. She goes, no, we're not. Humans are. I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, Orpheus. Somebody who doesn't really basically like to wear human clothes can understand, but really doesn't understand none of the human concept. She's like, oi. I'm like, As I see basically all around her, like, don't disrespect me. I am a dragon god. And basically I'm your first friend. And basically, this is what friends do to each other sometimes. We fool around, basically make jokes at jabs at each other. Metaphorically speaking, we make insults and basically have fun, basically insulting one another, but it's in a way basically where it's fun. She was like, oh, which I'm like, by the way, where do you even live? She would basically then say about how she lives in the realm between worlds, and basically about the colors and such, and the quietness, and everything that there's no one there besides her, which until basically Big Red appears and, took over her home. And she wants to try to get rid of him, which I'm just blinking. I'm like, wow, you really were basically born alone. I kind of know how that feels. Where she was just blinking, and ask, what do you mean? He goes like, well, I'm an orphan. I was adopted into a family, so for a while I didn't really know who my parents were, and I still don't know who they were, but I don't really care at the moment. But then I would basically, kind of, before she even says anything else, but, I would just pat her head. Basically, I'm like, you must have been alone for so long. You probably didn't care, basically, you were alone because you were, well, in basically a place where you can call home. I'm sorry to hear that your home was taken, Orpheus. Basically, though, I'm just patting her head, and basically her, inside her mind, she goes like, why is he doing this? What is this called? And why does it feel nice? Which basically goes, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm patting your head. It's called head pats. She's like, okay. Which I would stop. She goes, why did you stop? I'm like, well, I mean, I can't do it for infinity like you. My arm get tired. She just blink and nod. So we'll go to a cafe. Basically, I pay for her meals and such, and he basically let her have a chocolate cake. Basically, when she eats it, she was like, "What's this called? A chocolate cake?" She goes, "I like it." Like, you really never ate demon food, have you? She nods no. Which I'm like, well, I'm glad. I'm glad I basically can show you something new. Basically, I would kind of have a soft smile on my face, which she'll look and she'll just nod. So, basically though, we kind of have like a little bit of fun. Issei gets, reincarnated as a devil and such. But the fact is, no one would really know basically, Orpheus is in this place. In Grace's territory. So basically, after we're done, we probably hanged out a little bit more until it was dinner time, which I'm like, I gotta go basically make some dinner at home. Parents aren't home at the moment. She goes, my Orpheus looks at me like, can we hang out again? I'm like, sure, I don't really mind. She goes, thanks. Oh yeah, my name. It's Riku Hagane. She goes, right, Riku. Or Hagane, you want to be for? I'm like, well, since I'm your first friend, you can call me Riku. That's what most people call me. I basically don't really mind. She goes, oh, okay. Well, bye, Riku. She basically will leave. I'm like, didn't she sound a little bit more emotional lately for some reason? Nah, that ain't right. So, basically, I will feel my powers going away. I'm like, but still though, I never have the powers for that long. Multiple of them at once. Infinity Dragon must have been real powerful enough for me to have all those overpowered skills. So yeah, so after that, a couple of days will pass. Basically, Issei goes through his normal thing, but the only difference is, the day where Issei would have basically met Azia, yeah, Issei slept in a little bit. So basically, he slept in a little bit. Basically, what I mean by it, I will basically just start walking. I'm like, well, me and Orpheus have been hanging out. And I'm like, well, I would just say to myself, me and Orpheus has been hanging out lately, but she seems to be a little bit worried about something. Maybe I should talk to her today about it. As then I hear just a scream, basically a girl scream, basically, and when I look over, basically I see Azia in the position, well, in the way she fell, seeing her, she fell and everything, all her stuff was around, which I'm like, oh crap. So I ran over to her immediately, basically, I'm like, hey, Mom, need some help? She's like, yes, thank you. So basically I help her out, and basically though, basically, if anything, basically I just basically start chatting with her, basically asking her where is she from, and basically, since she would say this is her first time in Japan, I was saying how did she like it so far. She goes, she likes it, and stuff. And I would know basically some facts about something, but anyways, basically like how basically I'm even able to understand her. Which, to be fair, I'm like, oh yeah, she says she's from from where Italy is, around there. So I did take some lessons that are other basically languages that my dad wanted me to do. He was right, they would come in handy. So, I could understand her, that's why. So anyways though, I help her up, and I'm like, so, you need any help with anything? She's like, yes, I need to basically find this church. Like, alright. So I'm like, basically I'm like, so you're speaking Italian before, but now you're speaking Japanese? She goes, yes. Which I'm like, alright. So, in a sense, though, I'll try to basically to ask her basically what type of church and stuff. Before I can even say anything, Issei comes around, he's like, I'm running late to school. Which he's like, he looks up, he sees me, and basically, Azia. He was like, Riku? I'm like, hey, Issei. It's like, hey, who's she? He goes, this is, I'm like, her name is Azia Argento. She was basically looking for the church. He was like, alright. Well, we both know the area well. We can help her out. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, I was thinking of just helping her out before we get to school. I was like, right. Well, come on. So basically, me and her and Issei get to know each other. Well, me and Issei get to know Azia. And basically, Issei will feel weird, look a little bit we are at the church, and I look at him like, "Hey, Issa, you alright?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." But, wait, we're gonna be late, right? Which I look at the time and like, by maybe a minute or two. Which honestly is like, oh, well, I don't want to, keep you two waiting. Well, or hold up, so basically, this is where we basically, we'll leave each other, right? Which I'm like, yeah. See you around, Nausea. Issa goes, yeah, see ya. Basically, he runs off. Me and him, both. So, yeah, basically, Issa has his thing, I will have mine. But the fact is, though, basically, after school, I would basically meet in the park with Orpheus. And Orpheus is like, Riku. He goes, yeah? I want to bring you somewhere. And I'm like, huh? Bring me where? She goes, just trust me, alright? Like, okay. So she grabs my hand and we would teleport away to somewhere. Which, basically, when we basically landed where she wanted, I'm like, whoa, that's first time teleport. And I basically feel a bit queasy. She goes, that's gonna happen sometimes. Sorry, I'm just in a kind of a little bit of a rush. Which I'm like, huh? She goes, well, here, I wanted to basically bring you basically to this, as when I look up, I see basically this hut. But I see smoke coming from the chimney, I'm like, huh? This looks like an old-fashioned Japanese house. She goes, well, it is. This is, well, as basically a man opens the door, he was like, huh? Orpheus. I never thought you would be here. Or even come here. She goes, hello, Muramasa. Which I'm like, wait, Muramasa? As in the legend that made basically the blades that won't cut unless basically it wants to, or basically will it to? He's like, rough sketch on basically what I'd done, but yeah, I'm that Muramasa. I'm like, wow. Wait, aren't you supposed to be dead? He just chuckles like, well, technically speaking, I am, but someone basically wanted my services still, the great stuff for them, so I've been given technically based my own little area around where I'm still technically alive in this area, but not alive when I leave it. Basically, Orpheus says it's a barrier, around this place. And such, he's alive in it. When he leaves, he's dead. So he becomes a spirit. I'm like, okay. Me thinking in my head, that doesn't sound totally weird at all. So he was like, so, Orpheus, what do you want me to do? She goes, I want you to create something, Muramasa. Which he's like, huh? Which I'm like, wait, what? Which he's just blinking, he's like, okay. He leans against basically the doorway, he goes like, what is it? A sword for him. And she points to me, which I'm like, hold up, what? I don't even know how to use a sword. She goes, I can basically find someone for you. Besides, you need to basically get one as soon as possible. Which I'm just like blinking at her, I'm like, what? What do you mean? Which basically Muramasa would be like, oh. So someone found out about your little pal here, huh? Which she would nod. It basically like, she does, and she was like, I don't know who it is, but quite frankly, they're gonna be really annoying. And plus, I can take care of them myself, but in the territory he's in, I don't want to basically give any basically warnings or let people basically know I'm even there. So it's kind of hard for me to protect him if I wanted to. Where she's like, well, let me guess, your very first friend? She would nod. Which is like, kid, I don't know how you did it. Which I said, I just gave her some honey. And I basically treated her like a person, I guess. But he just starts blinking and just starts laughing after him laughing. He's like, kid, you're one of a kind. What do you even say? Like, when she told me her name, I didn't even freak out. And when even she was a dragon god, I was like, whatever. Which Muramasa is like, kid, you had some basic guts. Hold up. So, basically, after he says that, I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't die. Which she's like, anyone would have, but for some reason she didn't kill ya. That's why I got some guts to live to tell the tale. So, I don't really basically mind making a sword, but I need a material. basically, since Orifice is here, she has something, huh? But she would not basically. She would grab one of her teeth. Yes, this is kind of a reference towards Inuyasha. If you know that anime, great. If you don't, then no. And then I would look it up because technically they do this in the in the anime and such. So in a sense, basically this is a reference towards. So I don't own the name Inuyasha or anything. Just want to point that out real quick. But yeah, so basically she'll rip out her own tooth, but she has basically a magic power in it, which basically he's like, a vein of a dragon god of infinity. What type of sword you want me to make him? Shows something that will basically be able to basically protect him no matter what. And basically it's for him to basically just strike down his foes to keep himself safe. Which basically this will make Muramasa blink, and he thinks to himself, what did he do to her? To be frank, Orpheus was never this overprotective of people or any people. He just basically treated her basically like a person or something. And just didn't even care what she was. Man, this kid really has some BS luck. So, meanwhile with that guy, well basically he's like, I've been playing this game for quite a while. Let's see how basically the kid is. Basically he just basically looks into it. Basically he sees with Orpheus. He's just blinking, he's like, huh? Why is he with Orpheus? Wait, what has happened? So he basically sees my 17 years of life. And then what's what I did? He's like, how? How did he survive? He's holding the screen looking. He's like, this is BS. Hold up. The enemy skills activates where he has this unknown bullshit. So basically, yeah, he looks into it. Basically puts a magical, well, on the screen, basically covering me, and then basically sees all the skills are active. Since basically I'm not in a threat with Orifice, but still she has a lot of power. I do have some powers activated, which is the reincarnation of slime. Not if you think that, no, I do have like some other abilities. So he's just he's just looking. He's like, wait, what's his passive one? That's always on. That's never leaving. Ultimate BS, sir. He just starts blinking. He's like, huh? Basically, he kind of like touches it and he sees. I can deny something that should be impossible and make it possible. My luck is basically 50-50 at times, but if I really need it, and if I have whatever basically in my hands that I have a power, my luck is always 100%. Even basically if I don't have any power, my luck is always 50-50, where I can make an impossible thing happen. Just him be like, that's not possible. When he tries to deactivate, it says can never be deactivated. Always with me, which is like, no, that's complete BS. Ow. While he's trying to have a mini, crisis and, trying to figure out why this is even happening, or how to even, Muramasa took the tube, he's like, I'll make the finest blade I can with this. Never basically knew I could make, never knew basically the dragon god could basically, would give a tooth away. Which he goes, anything to protect my friend. Which he's like, so what about the Chaos Brigade? What about making him join there? Which he would not know. Which I'm like, wait, what? Chaos Brigade? Which he's like, huh? He's like, why not? He's like, he's only human. He only basically gets whatever power he has, which is, basically that I was interested in. I found out it's only when he's in danger. So, no. I won't be basically bringing him into it. Which he's like, power? It's like, yeah, it's only when I'm in danger I ever get it. And it seems like depends on the danger, the power I'll get. Or how many powers I get, and how dangerous the person is. Which, Ramos like, that's one weird ability, kid, but alright. I'll start making the blade right away. So he basically closes the front, his door, and basically we can hear him just start working. So, one of us will go over basically to underneath a tree, and basically tell me to sit down, by patting the ground, which I would. So I'm like, so, who's after me now? She was someone I basically got a little bit made angry in the past. Which I'm like, huh. And why you sound so emotional? She was, what? I can't be emotional when I'm around you? This is new to me and I don't dislike it. Which I'm like, oh, that's good. But, so, why basically they're alright, what did you do to them in the past? She goes, well, I may basically they tried to basically make me their one of their basically parage pieces because they were basically a devil, and basically I refused, and basically they didn't like it, so they would try to you know force me, and I didn't basically follow or basically do what they said. I fought back, and basically I spared them because I told them they were pathetic and weak, and I would never join them and whatever they want me to do. So I'm like, that's all? She goes, devils have pride. And this one seems to basically be stupid. Which I'm like, yeah, sounds like it. How did he even find out about, me though? She goes, I don't know. Someone must have been basically Kuo while we were there. Or, well, when I was there basically hanging out with you. And basically, they might have told someone. I should have been more careful. Basically, I'm just shrugging, like, meh, you're doing what you can now, so it doesn't really matter to me. She's like, thank you for understanding. He goes, it's not like basically I should be surprised. I mean, I have a weird power that activates anytime I'm in danger, so it's not really much of a problem. So, basically, she would just nod. So, basically, we would kind of basically sit there and talk for a bit, get up, and start looking around the barrier. Which, though, I want to say this. So basically, while we were talking, basically for some reason the spy sense kick in. Basically, I would just know where it's coming as I push out basically away orifice with my left arm. Basically, and all of a sudden I feel basically like my whole entire arm was basically cut off. But basically, though, from where my elbow was down, as that. And basically, it's my left one. So basically, I start screaming in pain because I look and I see basically my arm is gone. And so I try to look and I see it's just completely destroyed. Like, just dust. Which, one of them's like, a human saved you. How basically annoying. Which I'm looking at, I'm like, you jerk. You just. He goes, I wasn't aiming for you, human, but to be fair, I was wondering where you were. I was going to use it as a hostage to see if Orpheus would appear. But since she caught word of me, this was quite simple. Which she basically, Orpheus just blinking, she gets a little bit angry. She goes, you, from the old devil faction. He goes, yes. You remembered me finally, huh? It's just some rando devil, by the way. She goes, I should have killed you a long time ago. Which he goes, yes, you should, but you consider me weak and pathetic. But now I became strong, and I'll be able to defeat you. She basically would chuckle, and basically some magic aura would appear on for her, and she goes, how would you do that? Which he just smirks. Hold up. So basically, as I was saying before, my freaking dad called me. If you heard it, yeah, okay, whatever. So it's like, I had some help from basically, and well, you could say an old friend of yours. As in, all of a sudden, his magic, his basically aura starts to increase. Basically, not of a devil, but there's also some dragon in it. Which she's like, what the? How did you? He goes, well, to be frank, I basically found a way how to basically gain the power of Big Red through through some of his scales. Basically, your battles with him have caused basically his scales to appear at random areas. Now I've been collected them and made them into an armor. And such, I have the power, basically, my magical power is basically stronger now, and basically I have the basically exact same resistance as him. So, let us see what you can do, Orpheus, the Infinity Dragon. Basically, they'll start like a little bit of a magical attack, and basically shooting out some magic, which I would say it's basically what I would say basically would be like some basically different types of magic, lightning, fire, and ice. But basically, though, his main thing, though, for some reason, his flames basically are, when he shoots out fire, they're basically black, which basically Orpheus basically is able to dodge and basically deflect them. But the fact is, though, I can see her basically. She's worried. When she's looking at me, she knows she can take him on with ease, but he's basically right in front of me. So I'm right behind him, and what she sees in it, she knows if she does a magical attack, basically I would get killed or hit if he dodges. So that's what she's just been doing, reflecting and basically just sending it basically a different, or just nullifying it. Just me be like thinking, I can't believe this. I'm actually may die again. Plus, Orpheus can't do anything because I'm here. I just got useless. As then, for some reason, I hear something back in my head saying, "You need power." I'm like, huh? Power? Yes, power. Even more power. Which, basically, I get images of what, basically, this voice is coming from. But for some reason, basically, it was like it just, I heard it like it was talking to me, but no. It was basically, talking about, like, the whole entire where this voice has come from, or basically where basically this line, or the lines come from. So, but instead it says you need instead of I need. So yeah, technically, though, I basically just, my eyes open, I'm just hearing sound like, Virgil. Basically, I just basically am getting up. Basically, though, what happens is, Orpheus is shocked as basically a magical attack would try to hit her, but she basically just dodges it, basically by teleporting, as the guy's like, "Ha! What's wrong, Orpheus? Are you shocked by my power?" In such, basically, she's just, he looks over to her when she basically just sees, he sees her looking at him, but he knows it's not truly at him. As basically, I'm getting up, basically, something's glowing basically where my arm used to be, from my elbow down, and I'm like, power. I need more power. That's true. As in, basically, in that light, something would appear as my hair turns white. As my eyes turn into basically Virgil's. Which the, devil would turn on and be like, what the? As, in a sense, I would look at him like, you're gonna pay for what you did. That's for certain. He's like, what can a human do? Besides, what even happened to you? As all of a sudden, I just disappear in basically looks like a flash to him, and basically, try to strike him down, but he blocked with energy of basically magic, but, basically, it's basically pushing him back a bit. I'm like, for someone who has the skills of basically a dragon god, you truly are pathetic. He's like, what the? As I just kick him away, because these are multiple powers activating at once. So, basically, I sheath the sword, and I basically just look at him. And, well, I just basically just snap, and then all of a sudden, just fire appears off of him, just hitting him. He basically gets flown away. He's like, what the? As basically a marking, basically, from alchemy would appear, basically, on my hand. Basically from, Brotherhood, Alchemist, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I forgot the name of the character that does it, but he has basically a marking where he basically just used fire, and then it basically explodes with just a snap. Forgot his name. To be fair, I haven't watched basically the Full Metal Alchemist in a while. So yeah. So, basically all of a sudden, basically this blue electricity coming around me along with basically looks like orange, basically appears. I just disappear in a cloud of dust, is there. He's just looking around. Then all of a sudden he feels basically cut basically where his arm was. And he looks down, he sees his left arm gone, and goes like, that was for my arm. He hears my voice in multiple areas. Basically then, though, what happens next is, well, it seems like basically this, just pure basically lightning is on my hand. As basically all of a sudden, he just feels his next arm is gone, basically, for the lightning, which he's screaming out in pain. And that was and that's basically for making my friend worry. So, how do you feel, devil, that you were acting so high and superior before? So, you're just a human! Don't mock me! Which Orpheus is just in shock, Because she can basically see this all, but to be frank, she doesn't know what's going on. All she knows is basically whatever these powers are I have is basically amazing. And basically, though, all of a sudden I'm like, die already, you scum. As all of a sudden I just appear right in front of him, and the crowd's position, holding basically about to grab the handle as he basically tries to use a magical attack. But instead, what happens is very simple. I disappear as he basically doesn't see nothing. But then all of a sudden they see multiple slashes appear, and then basically it looks like the whole entire reality just basically gets cut. And basically just like it's falling like glass. As basically he basically just dies. Like basically, turned to chunks. Which I'm just like huffing and puffing as the sword disappears, my hair turns back to normal. As basically though my arm was technically also bleeding still. Due to, even though it was like some weird energy was making a new arm for me, it was not fully a new arm, it was just like the blue energy around it. And like, look, Orpheus. Guy's dead. I feel tired. As I'm falling backwards, and she would appear and catch me, and she was like, Riku, come on, stay with me. Don't. You're not gonna die. Alright? Which I'm like, too much blood lost. I'm just feeling a little bit tired. She goes like, basically Orpheus doesn't know what to do, but basically she asks, though finally, because, she's trying to figure out what to do, she could heal me, but the fact is, basically her magic basically may actually kill me. That isn't, because it maybe would be too much and such, and she can't heal a new arm back, or basically heal the new blood lost. So, in a sense, she was like, Riku, what's that power you used? And your look changed. He was like, that was Virgil. The half-brother, well, the brother, not half, I mean, the half-devil. Which, she's eyes wide, she was, devil? Well, technically a demon, but a demon named Sparta fell in love with a human or angel named Eve. Basically, they had two children, one being Virgil, the other one being Dante. Two brothers that would clash. And basically, my eyes are about to close, and she just hits my face, like, smacking it, like, come on, finish! Basically, she goes, oh yeah, two brothers that would clash together to kill one another. Basically, Virgil was obsessed with power. She goes, alright, then why was your arm glowing like that? Well, this weird energy appeared. He was like, a devil arm, maybe, I think? A devil arm? He was like, yeah, it reminds me of, like, your sacred gears that you told me about before. Her eyes widened, she goes, that's it. She goes, you're gonna live, okay? I just have an idea. I'm like, alright. Wake me up after from my nap. Basically, though, she basically knows basically what happened. And that'll she basically prevent, basically start healing me, but also using her basically energy from basically her infinite power, basically start create something basically where my arm used to be, As then all of a sudden, though, time would stop for her. But in a sense, though, basically, we would basically go to a few minutes as this, the god that sent me here basically looked, and he's like, oh crap. I knew he should have been ready to have some of those powers, but, because of the ultimate BS, I was really kind of irritated. I should have basically given him some before this. I knew it was going to happen. Okay, come on, think. Basically, though, he's like, what powers I can give him? I could turn him to basically a half, into his half demon form. Well, give him Virgil's and Dante's powers. But what type of sword will he have, though? And basically, and then he was thinking, maybe a sacred gear? Basically, he would see Orpheus making one, start to make one. He was like, that's it! Hold up. As then basically he opens up a portal, he goes into the dimension where basically this other Drake is. Basically, this other Drake is basically, no one has ever had him again, due to the fact is, he refuses to basically have a new host or a new partner after what his previous Issei has went through and what has happened. As basically this bright light will appear as he goes, hi Drake! Oh, a different version of him. Which he's like, who are you? He's like, well, I'm a god, or the god. I basically want to ask you a question. He's like, what is it? Do you want to see Issei again? which his eyes, Drake immediately had guys to raise up his head. He's like, really? Well, he was like, well, you'll see him, but not really him. You're gonna go to an alternate dimension, where Issei is technically still alive. But the events that have happened in their world, well, I should say in this world, hasn't happened yet. So where he isn't dead. Nor is Rias Gremory, Sonia Citri, basically Akano, Kanako, Azia, Irina, Zenovia, Kiba, Gasper, or any of basically the family of the Gremorys. That made this Issei go to where he was. Which Drake's eyes widen and some tears go down. He's like, yes, I would want to see him, but wait, what's the catch? He goes, there's a person that needs you. Basically, as he just shows him basically the memories so far of what I've been through, who I am, and basically what happened to me beforehand, and basically what's happening now. Which he goes, so that means, he goes, yes, Orpheus, the Infinity Dragon's making him have a secret gear. It'll be linked to her since it basically is from her power. But the fact is, I think you'll be a good, basically, help for him. Since I will allow him to only know about you, and what Issei Kuda has done with his powers. That is it. He does not remember anything of the world of High School DxD. In his world, it's an anime. And he goes, I understand. As long as I get to see Issei, and this partner may be interesting. So, what will you allow his powers to be? He was like, well, since he basically uses Virgil's powers, I also will give him basically Dante's skills. Plus, he basically will keep Great Sage, but he won't be a slime. So he won't get basically Predator to devour. I'll basically let him basically have his, enhanced physical basically speed. And basically, since you'll be part of basically a new secret gear called the Red Dragon of Infinity, he'll basically will have new abilities too. There are some things that I will let him have though. Basically, regeneration from Wolverine, reflexes from Spider-Man, and basically, many others. But those will not be given to him right away. Besides those for right now, I still have to think, which he'll not. So, in a sense though, basically he was like, well, let's get this started then. As then the god holds out his hand, as then Drake turns into a little ball, as then he disappears, and that's where, this guy will appear, right in front of Orpheus. She basically can't see his face or whatever, but all she knows is he's wearing white clothing, and as he goes, Orpheus, you're going to create his sacred gear, then add this to it. As basically, she would see basically the ball and Drake's inside of it, which her eyes widen and goes, but the Red Dragon Emperor, has already been found. He goes, this is a new one. As then he just touches her head, and then her eyes widen and she understands. So, she basically grabbed it, basically, because the energy was already forming around where my arm was, she puts it in, as she goes, now, the Red Dragon Emperor of Infinity shall be born. Not of domination. Basically, as the powers start to set, as time goes, as basically though, with Muramasa, he was hearing everything, but he was just focusing on his craft. And basically, he already was finishing the katana. Yes, the katana is going to look at, basically something which I will basically tell you after this. So, as soon as basically, a few minutes pass, her creating and she sighs, because basically, though, the gauntlet is, there's no gauntlet. It just looks like a regular arm, but with markings basically of Drake and basically a crystal basically already in my, basically it looks like a part of it, of the hand on top of it. And basically, just a little bit of markings and such, and another crystal. But basically, these crystals have basically the power basically of infinity in it, though. And basically, it looks like a normal prosthetic arm now. But the fact is, though, it does have a little bit of claws. Well, just have claws, but not really much. Well, not that sharp. And basically, then she was like, now then, to turn this into basically a normal arm, she basically would just wave her hand over it as it would just turn. She goes, now basically, if I can, just reverse all the blood loss. As Drake will basically, the crystal will glow basically where, it is. He's like, I will help. So basically, he will start boosting a bit, basically, and basically, Orpheus would then, touch that my hand basically, and basically he would say transfer basically, and well, it would kind of basically recreate some. Well, Orpheus was trying to do it, but she can't bring back my blood. She was like, how do I do this? She goes, maybe you'll have to turn him into a dragon. Her eyes wide. She was like, but he was technically, since I am here and you very basically give him a sacred gear of infinity, this will be the only way. His body would not be able to handle it anyways. She goes, right. So, she will basically do something basically very, very, very basic, kind of impossible. She will make something do basically like an evil piece, but she'll take the design of it. Basically, she'll be like, okay, this is gonna be his core then. I don't want no one to figure it out, but this is the only way. He goes, yes, besides, I can sense his life force even though you created a you're leaving him. Hurry, Orpheus. As basically when that what Drake says, and she basically puts it down, it would basically go, basically be, my body was orbit, and basically all of a sudden, basically whatever basically, basically whatever life force I lost would then suddenly just increased. Which, her eyes are widen, and basically, because she would basically also send and Drake says, he's out of the red zone. Now, I will not reveal myself until he's ready. That's why I will sleep for now. Do not tell him what happened to Orpheus. Besides, just say you made him a sacred gear, and basically you had to turn him into basically a dragon to handle it. She would nod. She goes, he's a half-dragon, though. Which, basically, yes, with everything else he is becoming at the moment. As basically she goes, huh? As then a bright light appears, and, well, my appearance slightly changes. My hair does turn, basically, some, not white, but there's a few patches in it. And basically, I do basically look a little bit basically more muscular and such. And, well, my basically power and aura seem, well, that she could sense seems to be a little bit increased. She's basically just blinking. But she's just in awe and basically just sighing relief though. She goes, at least you're fine. So, in a sense, basically, a few minutes pass as my eyes open. I'm like, ugh, my head. As I'm holding with my left hand, basically my head. Basically, I'm like, what the, this can't be real. As I'm looking, because I remember basically my left arm was gone and destroyed, which I'm just looking at. And Orpheus, I was like, you're awake. At least I just see, looking up, I see Orpheus. Basically, I was like, she let me use her basically laugh as a pillow. As I immediately get up, I'm like, sorry about that. And she goes, no, you needed it. You were still resting after basically what happened to you. Just, yeah, but how's my arm fine? And my hands are back, basically. Just, that's, the thing. I had to basically make you into a dragon. You were dying, and I also gave you a sacred gear, basically from my energy. It's basically a unique one. Which, I'm just looking at her and blinking. She was like, you made me into a dragon? Yes, you're only half, though. I mean, you still have the power of infinity because of me. So, you're kind of like another infinity dragon, but human. And basically, she's like, and I'm just glad you're fine, and, basically, I kind of see her, basically, she doesn't know what's going on, and basically why is that she's feeling so emotional, but then I would just pat her head. I'm like, thank you, Orpheus. As being around me has changed you a bit. She was looking at me and just nodding. She goes, anyways, how do I basically can see my new sacred gear then? Just focus. And basically when I do, basically all of a sudden basically there's like a little bit of a light, and when I open up my eyes, my arm basically is basically black. Basically black, like metal. And basically I would see basically one crystal and one, on my, on the, not my palm, but basically on the back of my hand, and one crystal near to where my elbow is. And basically though, I would see the infinity marks in them. But it looks like a prosthetic, new arm for me. I'm like, amazing. I can feel everything. It's like my arm wasn't even destroyed or replaced, but it looks like a prosthetic one. Just, yes, you're a lot stronger with that arm. Basically, your punches are going to be way more deadlier if you, use it, and, well, you based on like, basically though, these silent images, obviously, basically, I would hear a great sage, saying, "Note, you become a half demon." Because I'm like, wait, what? She basically would say about, what I've gained. Which I'm like, huh. So, basically, how do I even have these? She goes, you are basically reincarnated into this world by, basically, a deity. He basically accidentally summoned you, which killed you. So, I, as long as with these powers are given to you, basically are here basically to keep you safe and keep you living longer. Which I'm like, okay. So, anything else? She goes, yes, more powers will come to you over time that you'll be able to keep. So, be wary for them and get stronger. Also, I basically upgraded myself to basically be the part where, well, to be at the level where basically, as Rimuru Tempest would have me as, Raphael. I'm like, alright, see you around, Grace Sage. Basically, Orpheus was just seeing me being in shock, and then basically serious, and then being confusion. She goes, what happened? What's wrong? Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, it's just Great Sage told me something. Great Sage? I'm like, yeah, it's a skill that basically allows me to have someone in my head to help me out. It's from a anime called Reincarnated. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. By the way, which I don't own the name. She goes, huh? As I just sigh and I explain, I am reincarnated into this world. Just her eyes are wide. She goes, wait, how? And he goes, a god accidentally summoned me to his area, well, to his realm, or more likely to where he lived. And because he summoned me to it, I technically died. So he felt bad and reincarnated me into this world, and as I would basically, explain about, basically, as she already knows about my powers that would randomly appear anytime I'm in danger, and basically depends on the danger, I would basically have them. She was like, so that means, yep, this is my second life. And I nearly died. Again. But you saved me. As I said, just smile at Orpheus, and I would say, thank you, Orpheus. I really do appreciate you for saving my life. Basically, which technically she would be, she wouldn't know basically why, but for some reason, she would just feel very happy, and, she would like, it's no problem. Come on, Muramasa may be done with your new sword. I'm like, yep. So I get up, basically basically ask her how do I basically get my arm back to normal. She basically was saying, well, try thinking basically like if you just want to basically go back to normal. I kind of made it simple for you. I'm like, alright. So basically that's what I would do. So basically Orpheus would be like, Muramasa, you done? When we get to her, his home, he's like, yes, just finished it. I don't know what was going on, but I felt the power rise and basically all of a sudden, and then felt the other one that basically that was attacking you disappeared. And then basically this young man basically suddenly gained power from you. What happened? She will explain, and basically it's like, huh, hold up. Okay, basically it's like, huh, and what about you, your new look? I'm like, huh? So it basically shows basically my mirror, the mirror, basically, I had basically black hair, and basically brown eyes, but now my eyes are blue, and basically in my brown hair there's some patches of white, which I'm like, what the? Which basically, I was saying, maybe this is what Great Sage said about my changes. And I basically look at myself, I'm like, I am a little bit more muscular. Lean though. Which is a, yes. Basically, if anything else, how to basically, anything else, and who's this Great Sage? And as I told what Great Sage said, he's like, huh, reincarnation. Well, you're one lucky kid to even have all these powers that appear to you basically at random anytime you're in danger. But still, here. As basically he holds out, he gives me the sword, as Orpheus just blinks and be like, that's what he held in his hand. Which he's like, huh? Based on like, the sword. This katana. It doesn't have a name, does it? He goes, no, I think I was going to let you name it. Based on me smirking, I'm like, Yamato. Oh, wait, let me just double check, because I think it was Yamato or Yamato. Yep, I was right, it was Yamato. Well, it said Yamato. Yeah, basically I was right. It was Yamato or Yamato. I mean, So, yeah. Basically, I would just say the name Yamato. As basically, because it would basically look like basically it from Virgil. Sword, basically, like the. So I'm gonna name it after it. Kind of a little bit of a reference. Besides, I have his power technically, so, and Dante's. So yeah. So anyways, though, that's where I'm going to leave it off, everyone. And I hope you have a nice day, nice night, anywhere basically you are, and just try and enjoy the day. Or night. Bye.